what you're saying. Nani? Get out my business, okay?
All right. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Heero. That's Nafi. Nafi's my little sister, and I steal her away from her day-to-day activities for about 2 to 3 hours to force her to engage with me on this show because she accounts for 2/3 of my viewership, and I don't care what her social life has to say about that. So I couldn't make her come on here and talk about stuff that she wants to talk about, and 1/3 of my audience thoroughly enjoys watching. So Nafi, what tea do you bring for me today?
So it's not necessarily tea, but I want to talk about mental health. I am a mental health professional, master's degree. But what's been trending, obviously, even before the Olympics started, was mental health in our athletes, right? So we know that Naomi Osaka came out, a couple months ago about how she didn't want to participate in another tennis match because she felt like her mental health was being just impacted. She needed a break. And people may think like, well, tennis isn't an all-year sport. Like, you can get your own little breaks during, off season. And it's not about that. Like, yes, you get a break, but mental health is something that goes on all day. Whether it's the media, right? She's all over social media. She has to watch what she says, right? The pandemic happened. A lot of Black people were being murdered in the last 2 years. Like, these are things that just because they're rich doesn't mean that they don't feel these things, right?
Yeah.
So let's think about Simone Biles now, right? A lot of pressure on her, right? Because they were already talking about, a lot of people didn't like how she has the little goat on her leotard. A lot of negativity already. And again, that can affect mental health. You're already on pins and needles, right? Traveling to Tokyo, which is a country that isn't really welcoming of anybody else to come to this.
Yeah,
US
especially right now. Yeah.
Let's state that as a fact. From the living conditions to literally, I was watching the USA women's volleyball team go against China today, and there was nobody in the stands. I played volleyball. When you play volleyball, a part of that game is the audience, and it was a quiet as a mouse. So you just think about those kind of things that you have to prep. You have to prep yourself to come to this country where, again, you're probably not wanted to be there. You got to worry about, again, Simone Biles' case. She's being told that we're not going to grade you on some of your moves because nobody else can do them. Whose fault is that?
Okay. I just want to talk about that real quick.
Yes.
And I, as an athlete, as a former athlete, as a person who enjoys competing, if I came into a match and performed all the moves legally and beat somebody and they said that I had to lose because I hit him with a move that's called evolution. That's called biology. That's called talent. That's called talent. But past talent, that's also called hard work. You mean to tell me in her lifetime, no one else thought of this shit? Think of every fucking Disney movie and every movie you've ever seen and how you can almost predict what's going to happen. There's nothing new. All the rappers sound the same. All the clothes sound. She literally came up with something new in a day and age where everything has been seen under the sun, and we're penalizing her.
And you think about it too that the Olympics comes every 4 years. In this case, 5, right? Because of the pandemic. You would think that somebody would come after 5 years of training with something new up their sleeve. It's like you almost want her to come with something you're going to predict her to do. How insulting is that? You know what I mean? That's that can go with any sport. It's like track and field. Last year, let's just say Usain Bolt ran his 100-meter dash in 7 seconds, and then 4 years later, he's trained so hard so he can do it in 5 seconds. Is that his fault? Or is that somebody who's training to be the best and stay at the top? So in Simone Biles' case, it's so that already named 2 factors that could easily drain me.
But I will say this about the whole mental health thing. A lot of people will conflate your stature in the organization to be a reason for you not to fold. Look. Unless you own a gold medal, a Super Bowl ring, a championship past the collegiate level, shut that shit up. Shut the fuck up. If you've never got the opportunity to be invited to see your president, to shake his hand, shut the fuck up. Because you're not going to sit here and tell me on the day of on the day that will literally define if you go on a Wheaties box or eat ramen noodles for the next 4 years, that shit's not gonna cause you to crack. Especially with all of the things that face you. So I often tell people like they like to use me as a reference, like, Heero, you didn't crack under pressure. I didn't have a reason to crack under pressure. I never found my life in the athletic world to be stressful. Any of my family members will tell you, on game day I was the most jovial person because the game didn't really matter to me. It was just about having fun and competing against someone who was perceived to be better than me. But that's all I had to worry about. And I talk in front of a mic comfortably any day of the week. I was literally one of the spokespersons on my team, so it was easy for me to go in front of a camera. But I have that skill set. It's a skill set I've acquired over a vast majority of time. And there's no amount of training that will prepare you to be ostracized in front of a camera. And furthermore, social media is totally different now. 10, 20 years ago, being in front of the camera, I think, yeah, that's mandatory because social media doesn't. Simone Biles should be allowed to put out a statement on her Instagram or through her publicist. That's what other people do. Why don't athletes get the same grace? Why don't athletes get the ability to put out a statement through their publicists, like actors, like songwriters, like CEOs, like companies? Why do they get treated differently? And
obviously Simone Biles, though, because she definitely spoke articulately today, or I guess yesterday, at her press conference with her teammates on her side. They all won silver, and they all accredited that to Simone because they wouldn't have got there without her. And Absolutely. She spoke very, very, very articulate at this press conference and explained, like, this was not for an injury, sweetheart. This is me taking time for my mental health because she's entitled to that. That's not a choice. That's not a choice that somebody makes for her. She's entitled to make that own decision. So shout out to her, and let's normalize this. Like, normalize taking mental health days, even if it's during the biggest game of your life.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
It's not an era where you're going to retire or you suffered severe injuries where it's like, it's either now or never. You know what I mean? So, like, let's normalize this, like, taking mental health days. Like, oh yeah, I'm in Tokyo, but you know what? I'm going to do one contest and that's it.
No,
I actually want to sit here and watch. For once, instead of having all eyes on me, I want to just watch.
And I think a lot of people
what y'all have done for the last 4 years compared to what I've done. That's my mindset with Simone Biles.
But also, I think a thing that people fail to realize is this: that if we were more inviting and more open about talking about these issues, there'll be less situations where we have this going on. Like, people are deflecting right now on these women who are speaking about it, but you could end up with a bunch of, like, suicidal athletes we have on the male side because they don't get to talk about it because they feel it pressured to not say nothing. Then they go drink themselves into a slump and crash their truck like what's his name, Tiger Woods. Like, this happens on the men's side and it's critical on the men's side, but because we have such a stigmatism that we're throwing on women, it's really causing people to die. So, like, for the people who are like, oh man, shut up, all right? You don't know what it's like. You'll never unless you've done it and you feel some type of way. But it further speaks to your inability to speak openly about a situation you are currently going through, and that's not healthy. But I mean, Nafi, what else do you have on this?
Yeah, that's it, man. So shout out to her and taking that time that she needed, and she did it while she was in Tokyo on their dime.
Hey, she did get a good little trip. Hey, I'm all for it. Hey, but ultimately, I want to hear y'all's perspective on this. Like, if you, in the biggest moment of your life, whatever it might be, getting married, graduating from college, whatever that moment was for you, giving birth to your child, witnessing the birth of your child, what moment in your life do you wish you could have stepped back from to kind of take a breather? Like, what would have been? I think the easiest one for me is when I sacked Tom Brady. I would have really loved to have just sat the fuck down after that. But I didn't get that choice. I had to go back out and play another down. But honestly, what do you guys feel that those situation was? And let us know in the comment section below. But for everything in between and most, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, which is popping right now. YouTube got a bunch of people. Shout out to all the people lurking on us right now. I see you. out there, Superhuman. I appreciate you, man, coming through. My boy Eric. We got Brock back in the building. Brock, I didn't even know Brock still fuck with us. I appreciate that, Brock. I see you coming through. We got a few people coming through. Chi-Town, I thank you for coming through. I don't know who Chi-Town really is, but I appreciate y'all coming through.
Know yourself.
State your facts. What gang you represent? You know what? I think that might be black ass. That might be black. That might be black. But hey, I appreciate you guys. We got one more segment, and then we'll be continuing on with the show. Take care of yourself, man. Goddamn mask. Peace. Make sure y'all share this with somebody.
But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime, and I'm sleep deprived. Shorty on my line, and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night. Don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down, and we can catch the vibes.